Not a lot of people really care about the intro. They just want to hear the story on where you're at, how you got here, how this advice could potentially help someone else watching this be able to make the next steps to better their business.
Because I had no direction, I had no future plans, I had nothing to go off of other than working and sweating in an attic is better than sitting behind a computer screen. I found a video while I was on the couch of a guy in Washington State pressure washing a driveway for $300, and I was blown away.
So this is Grand Talk with Drew from Purple Haze. Now we do some of his advertisement, we do his marketing, but we're going to talk about where Drew got his colors from, what inspired his vision of why does he want to be the best soft wash company in Nacogdoches, and what did he do from start to where he is now to get to this point. So I guess that is kind of going to be our rough intro, because not a lot of people really care about the intro. They just want to hear the story on where you're at, how you got here, and how this advice could potentially help someone else watching this be able to make the next steps to better their business.
Perfect.
So I guess my first question would be is like, how long ago did you start pressure washing or soft washing, and why did you even get into this industry?
I started a little less than 5 years ago. I attended Stephen F. Austin, Axum Jacks, for about a year. I have been working my whole life through high school and then even during college. And I loved working. I had a passion for working with my hands. It was something that I didn't even realize that I had the capability of doing until I really just got out of high school. And so I took a job doing electrical work with a local businessman, Kim Crisp, with Crisp Electrical and Construction. And so I give so much credit and praise to him, because he was really, without him even knowing, or maybe he did know, and he's just all the wiser for imparting that wisdom on me with a humble spirit. But just getting to be under his mentorship really kind of helped pave the path that I'm on today. So that looks like me attending SFA for a year. This was during COVID. Everybody was forced to sit in their house behind a computer screen, and those two things don't work well for me. And so I decided to take a path on the unknown of pursuing just working. And I say that because I had no direction, I had no future plans, I had nothing to go off of other than working and sweating in an attic is better than sitting behind a computer screen in the air conditioning. It sounds crazy, but for me, I just had to work. That's what my purpose is on this earth. And so I pursued that full force. And through that process, I got to see what it was like to not just own and run a business from this high seat and getting to lord over people and telling people what to do. And it's my perception of a businessman and running a business was molded under the tutelage of Kim Crisp, and I can credit him to any of my success and all the failure as my own. But I would say that he really gave me a great picture into what it looks like to connect with people, to just be honest and forthright, and to be willing to take complete ownership of your decisions, mistakes, and to really just compliment others when it comes to your successes. He's a very selfless leader. And so I gathered a lot during the time, not even knowing it, but in hindsight, I'm able to look back on a lot of lessons learned. So I guess that then leads me to say, after a few years working with him and just kind of feeling the urge to just take a risk, take a chance, something that he always seemed to be quick to do was to take the next step. I found a video while I was on the couch of a guy in Washington State pressure washing a driveway for $300, and I was blown away. I was like, there's no way. That's what my paycheck is in a week. That can't be true, you know? So that's kind of where I found pressure washing, was watching YouTube on the couch.
Okay, so I guess that leads me to a question of like, he helped, I guess, inspire you to want to start your business. But like, did you already, before you even started working with him, like want to own your own business? Or was it just from watching him and understanding? Like, is owning your own business or going in the entrepreneur, I guess, mindset, is that something you were born with, or did you develop as you saw other people?
That's a great question. I would say that it was most likely developed. I think there can be an instinct or a nature about somebody being fit to lead, but I think a lot of that is developed. I think I have a lot of great examples of leadership and wise leaders around me, and I think he was one of many, but certainly the first in the business realm that took me under his wing and kind of gave me more insight and understanding of how the world works from the mind of a business owner. So while I have family members and just other mentors and members of the community that
Mhm.
have led by example and mentored me and given me the great advantages that I have of having those people in my life and them investing in me. He was the first to really show me and uncover the layers of what the world of business looks like. Yeah, so
Okay, so now you're talking about like it was developed over, I guess, several years.
yeah,
Now, some people, like, if they are watching this, but a lot of people that we hear is like, "Oh, have you seen that new company? Have you seen Purple Haze? Hey, I've been seeing this truck all over." But like, whenever you started talking to us, you said you've been doing this for 5 years. So like, a lot of people are thinking like you just kind of started.
yeah.
You know, some people probably know you've been doing it for a long time. I guess what has been that experience of like, did you ever feel like in that moment of like, why aren't people noticing me yet? Why do I have to put so much effort into this? I guess the question is like, starting your own business, people aren't going to really pay attention until one day they just do.
Yeah.
What was that like? Was that tough? Did you not even notice it because you're working too hard? I guess what was that process?
Yeah, it's kind of like the funny overnight success saying. I don't even yet view anything that I've done as a success. It's all a learning process, and I learn by failure. So I would say that it just took me a lot of repetition, a lot of failing, but that constraint of feeling like you are just trying to tread water and you just want people to notice you, and it seems like nothing you're doing is working or grabbing. Um, any attention. That was a real struggle for me, and something that I had dealt with also is just coming from a lineage of successful, um, business owners and just not even business owners, but just people that are successful in their own realm of work, throughout my family line and friends and relatives. That's something that I felt a lot of pressure in, and there was no roadmap on how to do what I was going to do and what I was setting out to do. It was a relatively unheard of or unpaved business path, one that I got many doubts and questions from by family members and even employers. But all those questions and doubts, all the things that they had to challenge me was the best thing for me. It made me decide without a doubt that was the direction I was heading. And no matter the road bumps and the unforeseen things that came up, I was going to stick to that plan and see it through.
Yeah, so you're talking about, like, direction you're heading and things like that.
Yeah.
Was there ever, like, cause like, I know for us, sometimes I, like, get a bigger head than I should, cause I don't
It's easy to do.
some people, like, come in and they're like, "Oh, I've seen your stuff, I'd love to work for you." And, like, cause like, where we came from is, like, seems like nothing, but, like,
Yeah.
for me, it's, like, been blink of an eye almost,
Mhm.
but there's all these, like, different trials and things you go through. But I guess in your, like, process, you're talking about, like, there's, like, a lot of pressure because like, your family members, friends, things like that are, in your eyes, successful business owners. Did you ever, like, put that aside? Because like, me being on the outside, it looks like you put, like, your customers and clients first, like, with how much, like, detail to all the attention that you're putting. Because whenever I'm out there filming with you, like, sometimes, it just seems like the main focus is, "How am I gonna make sure this house is perfect?" All the other jobs lined up, they're on the back burner. Right now is this house right here.
Yeah.
Did you ever just like was there like a mindset shift where I was like, I need to stop worrying about what's going on over here and just focus on this person's house. I need to make sure that this is perfect before I ever leave.
Yeah, I would say those are a lot of today's struggles and things lessons that I'm learning recently and have learned in the recent days, but, um, my mind flashes back to how am I going to get my first job? How does that even look like?
Yeah.
I mean, I left a stable job. I mean, very uh, a good job that I was comfortable in and that I was happy in. Not making a lot of money, but it was this realm of safety and security. So before I could even understand how to deal with customers and um, marketing leads, how to answer a phone and talk to people, how to present myself, how to do all the things that I'm still in the process and in the infancy of learning right now. Um, there was just the first question of like, where does the first job come from? How do I do this? And how do I make this job turn into two more jobs? And then how do I get to reach this customer base? And I didn't even know what an ideal customer was. I didn't know anything about demographics or marketing. I knew nothing. It was, I have a pressure washer and I don't have anything to do with my time other than pressure wash. So I've got to figure it out. So that that didn't really answer your question, but I would say that that would be something that I've really kind of, I'm still in the process of learning.
Mhm.
Trying to make the most of my time is seemingly more difficult as it goes on, but it's something that I'm always able to adapt and learn. And luckily, I have a really good customer base that is understanding of weather delays like today and certain things that go on. So I think really whatever's in front of me is whatever I'm going to give my attention to 100%. And if it's the job, if it's an estimate, if it's being on the phone to schedule something or to talk with a supplier or whatever it is, I just want to give my full focus to that and not have my interests divided. And I'm very fortunate to say now I have a great team that is able to manage a lot of the things in the field that I once took care of all on my shoulders. So I think it starts with a good team. But it really starts with you being a team of one. So
Yeah.
building those processes from scratch.
Yeah, so, like, you're talking about, like, you wanna, like, 100% in every single little detail that you put in, like, whether it's a call estimate or finishing a project. I guess that kinda ties into, like, what about for, like, the people, like, that are, "Hey, I wanna start my own business for freedom."
Yeah.
You know, so, like, you
Yeah.
probably hear, like, a lot of this talk, but, like, have you actually gained freedom yet?
Really good question. You're tapping back into a lot of the feelings and emotions and things that I've kind of honestly forgotten about. So yeah, I think one of the biggest drivers of me starting my business was looking for financial freedom, for freedom with my time, freedom with just what I want to do.
Mhm,
Right. Um, I think stepping into this role, I could have never understood the amount of selflessness you have to embody and take on when you start talking about a team, when you start talking about customers, problems, issues you have to resolve, and fires to put out. So I think for me, I just started in a place where I was also playing music and I wanted to pursue a dream, a hobby. It kinda paid, but not much. It was more of just I wanted to pursue this route. I couldn't really do that with a 9 to 5 job.
mhm,
So that's kinda where I started. It kind of what I thought worked hand in hand, gave me that freedom.
yeah,
So I wasn't 100% even bought in on giving it everything I had with my business until, recently. And even then, I have much more to prove to myself and the team that works with me of what we're capable of, so
mhm. Yeah, so I guess, like, I don't know, here's a question that, like, I was kinda curious on, but, like, for me personally, I enjoy, like, the long hours and, like, knowing that if I work hard enough, I can make a difference in someone else's business.
absolutely.
Like, you started out with, like, "Oh, I would like freedom and financials," but, like, is it been progressing and constantly changing year over year, like, your thought process? Are you to a point to where you actually enjoy those, I guess, hard days of building your self-character of, like, "If I surpass this, I can't wait for the next challenge to be able to pass that one."
Absolutely. Yeah, I think all of that is built on the foundation of like building a positive mindset and learning that adversity and dealing with that and moving through it is just means you're that much closer to finding your goal or reaching the solution to the next problem. And so I think it was a a very poor mindset I had whenever I started in business of, oh, well, I just have this problem and, you know, I have this piece of equipment that I need to pay off. Once I pay that off, oh, life will just be easy and I won't have any worries, but there's always something else that's going to come up and just slap you in the face. And so I do enjoy that. I enjoy the constant struggle that I face in trying to not only just run and sustain a business, but try to grow it. It's a constant challenge, and there's never a time where I can sit there with my feet up on the couch and just be at peace doing nothing. But that's also kind of what I bargained for when um, I chose to start my business and to take on those challenges. So it keeps me fueled and going, and um, that's really all I want to do for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, before, like, if someone's, like, thinking about this, they're like, "Holy cow, I don't wanna start it now." Like, there's a weird, like, you start out with the mindset of, like, freedom and things like that, but, like, this thought process of, like, "Oh, it's hard. I can't wait for the next difficult challenge that's gonna possibly nearly break me in half, just so that way I can get past it." Like, once you get to a certain phase, like, in doing this, like, everyone starts out like, "I would love to have my own business," and then it's running itself and I'm on vacation. Like, after a certain period of time of, like, being in business, that kinda thought process goes away, and you're like, "Man, I can't see myself relaxing on a beach.
Yeah.
This is my vacation." So, like, it sounds weird, sounds scary, sounds like something like, there's no way I can actually do that, but eventually, like, depending on, like, how much you actually wanna push it, that mindset will actually start to develop on its own. Like, as much as it starts out with one vision, it's gonna ultimately, depend on, like, how badly you want it to be, it's gonna completely change, and it could be in the span of 1 year or it could take 5 years, but that mindset will completely shift on you because, like, that's what happened to me and us is, like, we started this business going, "Hey, we would just like to have, like, a good paycheck monthly," you know?
Yeah.
A good paycheck now is, like, hopefully everyone's paid up and then we'll see what's left over, you know, kinda thing.
That's right.
So, like, but, like, I kinda enjoy that because I know, like, what's like, our vision went from, "Hey, I'd like to just be able to make enough money to keep food on the table," to, "I want to be able to make enough money to where everyone on my team is able to afford stuff for their families," you know? Then it completely shifts, and you're like, "How can I accomplish this? How can I push myself to be able to do not better just for me, but, like, for all my team members?" And then now it's like, "Okay, all my team members are taken care of. How can I make sure everyone in the community is taken care of?" So, like, it gradually gets more complicated, but more enjoyable at the same time, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I guess that kinda wanna tie into we're talking about, like, kinda where you came from, mindsets, and things like that. How did you come up with, like, this idea of your name, logo, and colors? Was it all instant? Did you have to think about it? Where'd that come from?
Nothing happened instantly or overnight or on my own. I will preface everything that I am today by saying that I can point to someone, something, and give credit where credit's due. The whole branding is a development. It's still going on. It's still something that um, I don't think much about. Never really have. I wanted to. I probably stewed on a name, so I started out seeing the business, wanting to get into it, doing all of my research, right? Looking at all the names, talking with business owners, talking about what equipment, this and that. I mean, I wanted to cover all my bases. So
Mm,
I had my equipment, um, and I needed to start by forming an LLC. So that process kind of let me on a 2-month long excursion. Total waste of time, but I guess it was worthwhile. I couldn't pick a name. I couldn't pick a name. I couldn't pick a color scheme. Couldn't pick a logo. Everything I saw was just cheesy, and AI wasn't a thing then, but it looked like what you imagine a typical AI generation would be now. Just boring logo. Everybody used the color blue because we're spraying water. So I was like, I want to be different. I want to stand out, and I want to be just undoubtedly the most recognizable person in my industry, at the very least. I didn't know anything about marketing, and so that was my approach. I was like, "Well, I live in Nacogdoches. I can say I went to SFA. Well, I didn't graduate. I can say that I was a lumberjack." And I think purple just really runs through the veins of this town. And so purple for me was honestly the first step into picking the name. And so I knew purple was the color, and I was like, well, purple's got to be in the name. Like, it's got to be no mistakes who we are. So Purple Haze kind of came from twofold. And I get people asking me this question all the time. I don't know if they're insinuating or if they're just genuinely curious, but I would say people ask me, where does the name come from? A lot of times with the snicker, thinking that it's something related to, I guess, the Jimi Hendrix kind of like, would that be like the 60s era of like the drugs and rock and roll, just kind of like the,
Yeah.
a lot of people think like the tie-in with like drugs and the crazy era that that music came out of. Well, that's not entirely true. There is a tie to Jimi Hendrix and his song, and I'm a guitar player, so I love that tie-in. But really, it's rooted in just like the heart of a student. I found um, a lot of direction while being a student, while finishing and getting a degree wasn't ultimately what was in the cards for me. I was able to be a student at SFA and have just a broad perspective of what the possibilities were, both in this town and with, what I can pursue. And so I was going to go and study business. I decided that I wanted to pursue starting a business instead. And so really being that student and being, especially growing up here and going to all the sporting events and seeing like the Purple Haze student section, seeing the energy and passion that was there and the ties with the town, really just kind of turned me to think, well, Purple Haze Pro Wash, um, that seems like a pretty reasonable name. And then it took me probably another 2 months to develop a logo, and
Yeah.
here we are. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, like, it kind of ties me to not quite yours, similar to like the name and logo always take the longest. Like,
Yeah.
we've changed our logo probably like 3 times so far.
Yeah.
Still kept the name, but like how we came up with our name is kind of funny because like you're trying to tie it into stuff,
Hmm.
but like our story isn't like as cool as yours. Like you play guitar, you tie it back to SFA. Ours was like driving down the road, me and
Nice.
Ivy, and it was pretty late that day, and we're just like, man, if we could start a social media company, what will we call it?
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, everyone's so average when it comes to social media. Like, we want to take their boring stuff and make it really good because like our vision was we want to be the best. We want to provide the best service possible.
Yeah.
So we're just like throwing out spitballing ideas and ideas. And we're just like, what about like from bland to grand?
I love it.
And then we're just like, hey, that sounds pretty cool. So like it was just kind of like a weird moment of like we're just like brainstorming. And like to get to that point, like it probably took a few months, with
Yeah.
just like randomly talking about stuff until we just like randomly like spewed out that sentence, like because we had to figure out, I guess, our what did our values want to be. We want to take boring and make it the best possible that we can make it.
Yeah.
So not saying anyone's brand's boring, but we just want to be able to elevate wherever you're at in your stage of business. We want to be able to take it to that next level.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's kind of funny. It's like, it seems like probably everyone has that stage of like, I spent too long figuring out my logo and my name.
Yeah.
Now we took off the from because people are getting confused. Now it's a tongue twister. So we took off the from and then turned the two into a number two because it was just TO.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're constantly changing things.
I love
But yeah, so I guess you're trying to, I guess, develop a lot of time into name, logo, stuff like that. You wanted all your stuff to be purple because you wanted it to stand out and be different. Was there any like, I guess, types of marketing that you did besides purple, your logo, and your name? Like, what did you do up to from like year one to now? I guess before you started working with us.
Yeah, the purple camo thing was kind of like the start of me taking it seriously. So at first, I'll be honest, I didn't want to spend any time trying to develop those things. I wanted something that would resonate with people and something that people might recognize and remember. So I think Purple Haze accomplished that for me, and the quick logo that I ended up going with after spending months trying to design one on my own. My cousin's wife, she's great. She designed our first logo. I approved it. I was like, this is great. So obviously there's so many things you have to learn when you start a business.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to pressure wash. I didn't know how to crank a pressure washer. I didn't know how to do any of that. I started by buying my first trailer or financing it. Um, and so, I mean, I had absolutely no clue about any parts of the business. I mean, trying to learn customer relations management software and trying to learn how to estimate jobs where I wasn't in the hole. I mean, all those things kind of took up my focus and energy for the first few years. But a couple of years ago, I realized that, we started I wanted to start at a level that nobody else around here had even been at. Like, I wanted to start by looking professional, showing up, having equipment that nobody had seen. I wanted to be the standard for, and setting a new standard for what it looked like. I didn't wanna be somebody just hauling a rusty trailer with a rusty piece of equipment with a pressure washer they rolled out, and there's nothing wrong with that, and many people start their business that way. But I knew from the get-go, I just wanted to set a new standard for, what it looked like to have your home cleaned. And if you want your house to look clean, you want, your brand and the people that are there doing the cleaning and your equipment to be a representation of the job that you're gonna do. So, for me, that's where my focus and energy really was in the first 2 to 3 years, and then I realized, um, I think there's quite a few other people that were out there doing that, and I wanted to, again, take the next step, set myself apart, and so I had a crazy idea one day. I was like, "Well, we're getting a new work truck, we're making some developments here," um, but we had a trailer with our signage and everything, but we still kinda blended in, and so I was like, "I want to catch people's attention." If you drive through Houston or Dallas, I mean, I'm constantly turning my head. I mean, I can hardly drive because 'cause I'm so intrigued by all the marketing there and, just how well people advertise and grab your attention, especially with the wraps on vehicles. That was something I did not see hardly anything of here in Nacogdoches, so um, man, I wanted to be the craziest one. So I was like, we're gonna put purple camo on it, and there will never be a doubt,
Yeah.
for good or bad, that people will recognize our truck going through town. And so it started with that. I had a great graphic designer help us with our t-shirts and matching that stuff up, and it's kind of just been purple camouflage ever since.
Yeah. So whenever you went from, you're saying, like, I guess your basic logo to a full truck wrap camo, did you notice, like, now people probably watching this are curious on, like, number wise, did you notice a change? Like, it could have been instantaneously, but, like, did you notice a difference, like, doing that? Did it actually impact your business any?
Man, absolutely. I would say that was kind of the one thing that caught me off guard. I was given some advice by multiple different people that ran raps, people that didn't, people that said they're junk, and people that swore by them. And I took the chance. It's not a cheap investment. And then obviously I'm rebranding everything. I say rebranding. I mean, nobody even knew who I was really at that point still. But I would say that initially really did help. I mean, people recognized the truck. They were able to see our shirts and put two and two together. I think if I remember correctly, I mean, quite a few people would come up, even that I had never met at that point. That was never something that I had really run into. I was always expecting, people would just see my nice looking trailer that I started with and
Mhm.
see me dressing professionally and just come up and ask, "What do you do?" And, "Oh, can I get a quote?" And just run to me, flock to me. But that wasn't the way it worked. And it didn't even work that way once I got the truck wrapped and started making this move in the direction that we're going now. But it was something people were definitely paying more attention to, and it grabbed their attention more
Mm.
because of that change. So, it's something that I'll be honest, I don't even know if it's been a net positive or negative, but it's something I enjoy. I enjoy standing out, and it kind of helps set a standard when it comes to like how we dress and just um, having some professionalism. So obviously, we can't wear a suit and tie when we're out there sweating and getting soaked in water. But I do want to look the part of a professional company and bring that good image to every job. So
Mhm.
this allows
Yeah.
us to do that.
Yeah, I have noticed, like your wrap on your truck, for example. So, like, um, whenever since we've been, like, helping you market and stuff like that, like, people will say, like, they see your videos, but, like, another thing that's not it's occasionally in there, but barely. Most time people are like, "Oh, yeah, I think I've seen his truck." Because if we say Drew with Purple Haze, they're like, "And does he have that big camo wrap truck with purple?" So, like, we hear it all the time, like, they may not know who you are, but they know your truck.
Yeah.
And then once they finally see, I guess now with, like, marketing, like, your name and you as a person more out there, like, now they're putting the pieces, like, I've seen this truck pass by my office. People are like, "Yeah, I see him driving through downtown. I see him over by Walmart. I see him over here." People just see the truck, but now they're, like, clicking these pieces together more. I guess on our end of what we're hearing is, like, I've seen the truck driving around a lot, but now they're putting a face to that name. They're putting a face to the truck who's actually in there driving it kinda situation.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess, like, it kinda ties to, like, one piece of advertisement isn't gonna change your business.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah, rebranding, doing your logo, that helps, but then you still have to now you have to show it on your truck and on your clothes, and then you also have to, "Hey, if I'm just wearing this stuff, people probably won't come up and just ask me, 'What do you do? Can you do this for me?'" They're probably gonna be, like, standing from a distance. If I can't figure it out from over here, it's probably not gonna help me any kinda basically. They're like, how much have you seen? So, you went from that let's fast forward a few years because that was, what, probably about 2 years ago, wherever you got that?
Yeah.
Now, how much has, being on social media changed your business?
It's been a tremendous change. I would say that a breakthrough for me is just before I got the wrap and kind of started to really market on social media. I was still just in a survival phase of
Mhm,
getting my business started. So I would say I found Facebook and just posting organically to be the lifeblood of my business in year 2 and 3. That was something uh, that was my saving grace and the thing where I honestly started to truly connect with people and allowed people to get to see what we were doing on a daily basis and start to create some of the foreground of what the branding is today. Um, but since then, I'll be honest, I've shared with you plenty of times, but I don't I went 180. I don't enjoy social media in terms of just having it on my phone and
yeah,
scrolling, and so I've actually part of working with you has helped me eliminate that and just be and create a presence that is in people's face and there for them to see everything that we're doing without my need of being on the app all day long or filming content. So I would say, the biggest thing has just been the fact that we've been consistent with the social media, and it's looked different throughout the many years, but I would say from where we started to what we're doing now is a night and day difference. I mean, people are not only just seeing our ads and seeing our truck roll through town, seeing our shirts, but they're engaging with our brand. They are seeing y'all are the guys that I've heard everybody recommends. Y'all are the guys we can trust. I see y'all have equipment, y'all have manpower, y'all have all the things that we just don't see anywhere else. We
mhm,
there's like a level of trust that I see is being instilled in the community, which is the biggest thing for me. I want people to trust us, to be around their home, to respect their property. That's our main goal. Anybody can learn how to pick up a pressure washer and learn the equipment, the ins and outs, but not everybody can be professional on time and just be consistent. So.
mhm, yeah. Yeah, no, that's I guess from the very beginning when we first started talking, like, you wanted to make a difference, set a new standard.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like you're pushing that standard pretty high now, cause like you said, you're have the truck wrap, you're trying to make sure, like, anytime you show up on a job, that job site gets your 100% attention.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, whenever I'm, like, out there filming with things, uh, he's either tarping bushes, taping up electrical outlets, double checking what his guys are doing, double checking what he's doing most of the time.
Yeah.
They're moving all the equipment and, like, if you have stuff out on your patios, he's constantly moving it. They're taking pictures beforehand
Yeah.
of where they picked up the stuff just so that way they can put it back in the exact same spot. Even though it might not be, like, that important to some people, like, I guess that's the level of, like, me on the outside of watching, like, he picks up a chair and moves it, but before I move it, let me take a picture so that way it's in this exact spot next time.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I guess that's, like, the what I'm kinda seeing from the outside of, like, all these, like, little micro things, like, they probably become first nature to you now, but like
Yeah.
to an outsider, this is like a whole new level. Like most time you just see people like, please don't damage anything you do. So, yeah, so it's cool to see, and it's like fun to watch. Like I've just noticed in the past like 4 months we've been working with you, like how much like of a mindset shift you've just had internally
Mhm.
of like, hey, I just want to go from here to here. Now it's like, hey, I've hit here. Let's go way over here now. Like you've been constantly pushing.
Yeah.
So like, is there like a piece of advice like you'd give to someone like whether they've been in business 1 year or they've been in business 10 years? Is there anything like that you think that you've developed personally that you can pass along to somebody?
Yeah, that's a good question. The appreciation and praise of those things that we've developed are great, but I would say those things have come from failures, right? We didn't just wake up one day and think, "Oh, it would be a good idea to take pictures of this lady's furniture because she has a bunch of pots and plants and all of that." I would say everything that has been a part of our process now and everything that will continue to be and will be added to our process and the way that we do things is it's all come from failure. So the advice I would give is don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to make mistakes, to get out there, take a risk, start a business, um, get it wrong the first 10 times. Everything that we do now, every little thing where you could point and say, hey, y'all do a great job with that. Well, it's because we didn't do a great job and we screwed it up about 10 times before we figured out what to do that works. So that's really the only advice I give. It's pretty underwhelming advice, but it's been some great advice that's also been handed down to me, and I seem to learn the hard way rather than the smart way. So I need to make the mistakes, visualize how I screwed it up, and then probably do that a couple more times before I get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, at least me, maybe it's a guy thing. I learned the same way. Heidi can read something, she figures it out. I'm like, come on, show me.
Uh,
I have to fail a few times. That's funny.
yeah,
But yeah, other than that, like, that's a good piece of advice is like, don't be afraid to take those risks because
absolutely.
I guess, I guess what could be the worst thing that happened? I tell myself a lot of times, like, what could be the worst thing that happens? Like, I mean, this sounds eerie, but I hear it a lot from Alex Hormozy. If you're not gonna die, are you? So like you could
Yeah,
fail, but you're gonna learn something. So I'm like, well, I guess that's like a rough way to put it, but like I'm not. I guess I'd rather know that I tried my best than man, I wish I would have tried.
yeah,
Because it eats me away knowing like, man, if I would have just tried that, or if I would have just done that, because like all the time, like I was in construction before all of this, and I'm 30 now, getting old. We started doing this like right around 25, 26 almost.
yeah,
And I was construction, all that. I'm like, man, if I would have just jumped into this, because we talked about whenever we were 19, like starting a YouTube channel, starting all this stuff. Like we had the ideas and like we wanted to do all this, but like I was like, no, no way, that's for kids, that's for dumb stuff, that's for this.
mm,
Like I gotta just work and stay in construction because I grew up in construction. I have to be in construction. This
yeah,
is all I know. But like it wasn't until like I just was like, you know what? I'm tired of just like working for somebody else. I'm tired of doing all this like manual labor for like I don't know, it was probably like $10 an hour. It wasn't a lot. We had a kid too. And so it was like all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let's just take a risk and let's just jump all in. If we fail or I can go back to construction.
that's right.
So like I had that like little safety net, I guess you could say. But ultimately I think like what kept the drive was like, what's the worst that could happen? Like if you in my head, if you don't die and then you just start back from zero and just work your way back up. At least you can skip all those other lessons you learned and just go straight back to where you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, so awesome advice, good conversation. You got anything else you want to leave the viewers off with?
I would just say to kind of hit back on that. If there's somebody listening and they are nervous about taking the next step, they're hesitant, especially if you need marketing. I remember myself 6 months ago, and I once again found myself with a big, lofty decision to be made. It was take a giant risk and hope for growth, or stay exactly where I am. I would say don't ever be fearful to take that risk. I have a text that is in my phone, and it's one of my screensavers that I cycle through for inspiration at times. But prior to working with you, financially, I'd probably not made the best decisions, and had also just, just really just been in hard times, struggled to make to get leads coming in. It was in our slow season, and just was really down, as have been many times. And um, I screenshotted a text from a mentor and a friend in the business, and he said, "Failure is just a receipt that you can carry with you and go back to." And so I would say I look at those receipts and I would say, remember the times you failed. Don't be afraid to take the risk. And that failure will serve you well. You will always be able to look back on that and have that lesson in your pocket, and nobody can take that away from you.
Very cool. That's a very cool way of looking at it. Yeah. So I guess if you are needing anything related to soft washing, your house is slightly dirty and you'd love it to be cleaner. You have a beautiful business that's just covered in grime. Drew's gonna be able to take care of it all. He made fun of me for the front of my business, so we're gonna have to do something about that.
We keep building ads saying, "Does your business look like this?"
Yeah, and it was in front of our building. So like he got me at the core. But if you are needing anything, Purple Haze Pro Wash, they'll be able to take care of you. And from what you heard, he tries to go above and beyond on every single job site. So if you've ever thought about it, just reach out. He gives free estimates. He's on Facebook. We're going to start an Instagram for him. Like he said, he doesn't want to be on social media, so we'll get that set up for him.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for watching.